The modern wellness industry markets finding yourself as a triumphant awakening, a journey that ends with the world applauding your growth. But this narrative ignores what actually happens when the polished mask you've been wearing starts cracking. Real transformation is a brutal, isolating process that the people in your life will likely mistake for a disaster. When you lose a job or go through a divorce, there's a social roadmap for your pain. People understand why you are suffering. But the internal collapse of who you thought you were offers no such context. You are losing your entire orientation to the world, making it a uniquely disorienting experience that most people never see coming. Before this collapse, you operate from a false self. This is a suit of armor assembled over decades, forged from survival tactics and the quiet habits of people-pleasing. You likely became the responsible one, the funny one, or the endlessly flexible one, because you figured out early on that having your own needs created conflict. This personality was specifically engineered to keep the people around you comfortable, even if it meant abandoning your own authenticity. Society typically labels this complete suppression of the self as maturity or responsibility. In reality, what we call successful adulthood is frequently just a highly convincing, lifelong performance. This psychological shift rarely starts with an extraordinary trauma. It begins in the mundane, a quiet moment at a Thanksgiving dinner where the family role you've played for 30 years suddenly feels like a suffocating costume, or a realization during a promotion you didn't even want that you've been running a race for someone else. These moments let in a dangerous question. Who would I be if I had never been taught to be who I am? The Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung studied this specific awakening across hundreds of patients. He called it individuation. Jung viewed individuation as a psychological requirement. It is the necessary work of reclaiming the parts of your personality that were bartered away for early survival, moving toward who you genuinely are rather than who you were pressured to be. Once this question takes root, the process becomes irreversible. You can try to go back to sleep, but the awareness of your own inauthenticity remains like a splinter under your skin. The first stage is radical clarity. You start seeing the performance in everything you do. Relationships that felt meaningful yesterday suddenly look like stage sets where you are playing a role in a script you didn't write. When you try to explain this shift to loved ones, you are met with confusion. They don't have the context for what you're seeing. To them, you were fine until you suddenly weren't, leading to well-meaning suggestions that you're simply having a breakdown. In stage 2, the dismantling begins. You can no longer comfortably play the old role, so you start making changes. You create distance from one-sided friendships. You skip the family gatherings, where the price was your silence. This diagram visualizes retroactive grief, realizing how many years were spent living as someone you weren't, swallowing your truth to keep the peace. As you watch these false sections drop away, people react with alarm. But these are necessary amputations of a false self. You will likely be accused of being reckless or selfish, but you are clearing away a structure that was never capable of holding your actual self. Stage 3 is the void. You have taken apart the false life, but the person you are becoming hasn't shown up yet. You are standing in the rubble of your old identity, with no map, no script, and no sense of direction. The temptation to escape this emptiness is enormous. Many people try to fill the hole with a brand new identity, a radical lifestyle change, or a new spiritual practice, just to stop the anxiety of not knowing who they are. If you can sit in that uncertainty, stage 4 arrives quietly: integration. You begin to notice genuine preferences and natural boundaries. You aren't constructing a new persona. You are uncovering the one that was hidden under layers of conditioning. This leads to a final relationship crisis. Your false self was engineered to be agreeable and easy to be around. Your real self did not receive those instructions. People who relied on your compliance will view your new boundaries as a threat. They may tell you that you've changed for the worse, because the version of you they knew, the manageable version, is genuinely gone. Realness costs you the comfort of fitting in, because when you stop playing your assigned role, the dynamics that held your social circle together often collapse. The final stage is sovereignty. This is a state where your internal sense of authority no longer needs to be confirmed by anyone else. You have built something inside yourself that external judgment cannot take away. In this photo of an elderly Jung, you see the quality of sovereignty. He appears comfortable being misunderstood. Sovereign people can hear criticism or sit with the disapproval of others without feeling the compulsion to correct the record or defend their transformation. This journey clarifies the two paths available to us. There is the acute, temporary pain of becoming real, and then there is the chronic, familiar pain of staying false. Staying false leads to a persistent sense that something essential is missing. It is a slow erosion of your vitality that is so familiar, you eventually stop registering it as pain. Jung believed that staying in the false self isn't the safer option. It simply trades the visible pain of growth for the invisible experience of slowly dying while you are still alive. If you feel like your life is currently falling apart and you cannot explain why to the people around you, consider that you are not the thing that is breaking. The scaffolding built around your false self is what is coming down. It is terrifying to watch it fall, but its collapse is what finally allows the suppressed parts of your nature to breathe. Jung's ultimate conclusion was that the most significant work a human being can do is to become, while still alive, the person they actually are. Not the person their parents needed, or the person their relationship required. This path is lonely, and it costs you the comfort of belonging. But on the other side of the pain is the experience of living as yourself, fully and without apology, for the first time.